Well, what happened?
I guess you just have to follow the rules.
Policy rears its ugly
Rules are
head.
rules.
It's a really rigid policy. I mean, they don't seem to want to give any ground at all on that. It should be at least a little bit up to the pastor because it's his sermon, and if out of anybody in that room, it seems like he would have the closest relationship with God, and he would have some say in whether or not they get to eat.
He didn't put up a very big fight, did he? You know, it seems like
It might have been like the pastor would have had a little bit more trump over the employees because he's closest to God and he would have more authority.
But he's not as close to the board, perhaps.
No,
You know,
right.
the board who sort of operates this thing. It sets up this policy that these staff members become sort of, sentries to uphold this policy.
Well, I mean, it seems antithetical to what they're trying to do about getting the word out to me, just because they want God to come first, but then if the pastor is saying, no, it's okay, let them eat while we do it, then they're putting God on a backseat to their rules and regulations almost.
The staff members don't seem to have a lot of power. They just seem to be. They keep going back to the policy. It's our policy. It's our policy.
It's like, well, who writes the policy? Who makes up the rules? I mean, these kind of people need to be addressed, perhaps.
Who's in charge? Really?
And isn't it illegal for certain places to force a religious sermon?
Well, if it's there have been stories about homeless shelters that were shut down because they received state funding and required a religious service beforehand, and there was a conflict of interest there. So that's a possibility.
So should he ask where they get their money from?
That's an option. He could kind of pursue this on a higher level. These people, the staff members, don't seem to know much, but maybe there's a solution to be found, within the institution and higher up. Well, let's see what that looks like.